let's get this out of the way. The QN90A is not an OLED. In fact, sometimes it's a little bit better than OLED, and other times it falls just a little bit short. What do I mean by that? Stick around and let's find out. Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to the channel Tech with KG, where we talk about TVs for content that you actually consume. Today we are going to review the QN90A and we will talk about whether or not I think it'll be a good purchase for you or if you should skip it. We will be talking about movies, TVs, gaming, and other ways to utilize the screen, such as multi-view. When we are done, let me know in the comments what your opinion on the QN90A is and whether or not you think it's worth the premium. So we already talked about the unboxing in the setup video previously, so let's jump straight into the main core of this TV. The main selling point of this TV for Samsung is the Neo QLED. Neo QLED is pretty much mini LED, just refined by Samsung. Their promise was to have minimal blooming and to pretty much make their LCD compete with OLED. It's designed to be really bright and have great color, but also maintain really deep blacks. So what's the real scene impact with blooming here? What is actually affecting what you are watching? To me, from watching for 3 weeks on this TV, for TV shows and movies, I didn't really notice blooming at all. For gaming, it was rare as well. Sure, you'll see blooming on loading screens and title screens, and maybe even the occasional UI element, but I'd hardly say it was something that was annoying, and it really didn't bother me at all, and I don't think it'll bother most people. In gaming, I don't think it's a huge issue. And I have to mention this about blooming as well. Off-angle blooming is definitely more prominent and noticeable than it is watching head-on. So head-on, it might be a little bit of a faint blooming, but to the side, it will be a bigger cloud and it is sort of annoying to look at. So if you're going to be the one watching from the side on this screen, it is something you might notice from time to time. Next, let's talk about black crush. Many of you may have heard that this TV can suffer from black crush on high local dimming. So personally, I did run into a few instances of black crush, and I think I might do a separate video on this topic as well to sum up how to combat dark scenes that exhibit some black crush. In the settings options, you can tweak some things to your liking where you can get a better picture quality resulting in far less black crush, and you can also make sure that you have brighter HDR by raising the gamma. There's different ways you can play with this. I like to use gamma +3 and -2 for shadow detail. I found that for gaming it looks really great, but for movies I did see some black crush using those settings. Like I said, I will be breaking it down more in a separate video, so stay tuned for that. That video will also apply to the Q90T. Next, I want to talk about gaming for just a second. I won't go too far in depth about gaming because I did do a separate video, so be sure to check that out if you want to know more about gaming on the QN90A. One thing about gaming that I want to note here is that on a lot of TVs, you'll see that when you go into game mode, the picture will get dim or it'll just darken a little bit. That's not the case on the QN90A. This is probably going to be the brightest gaming TV on the market right now, and it does not disappoint with the picture quality either. We're going to have more gaming footage in the background while this video goes, but let's move on to the pros and the cons. For me, the pros and the cons start with this. Let's start with the pros. I think it has great color. It looks really good out of the box in most modes, but I'm telling you, the movie mode, they really nailed it compared to what they had on the Q90T at launch last year. And now I'll always say this about color is that if you do want the best realistic color, you're always going to want to get some calibration done on your TV. So that's something you want to keep in mind. But I realize that most of you guys don't go that route. This TV out of the box really doesn't need much work. Honestly, if you don't pay for calibration, you're not missing out on too much. And I think most people should just save their money and not calibrate this TV. The next pro for me is gaming response time. At 60 Hz, you're getting 10 milliseconds response time, and at 120 Hz, you're getting 5 milliseconds response time. That is really, really good. Next is the biggest pro, in my opinion. Let's talk about brightness. And to me, this is amazing. This is the reason why you would buy an LCD over an OLED. If you like bright TVs, if you like these bright specular highlights, this sunsets that pop, the explosions that blind you. Yes, the real scene brightness is probably the best I've ever seen on an LCD TV. And if you look at Arting's reviews, they even back this up with their measurements, and I even measured it with a light meter myself, and I got close to 2000 nits. Black levels are also great, and they're as close to OLED as I've seen on an LCD in person. Definitely a big pro for me. Another plus for me is multi-view. I think that multi-view is really cool. The ability to have picture-in-picture with YouTube in the corner of your game that you're playing is really awesome. Like, I could think of scenarios where you might be wanting to do a walkthrough of a game because you're stuck at a certain point, and just have the ability to pull up YouTube and then have that walkthrough in the corner is really nice. This doesn't seem to work with too many apps other than YouTube. However, you can display different apps with your phone with multi-view, so that's pretty nice. AirPlay works pretty good with this TV. Another great thing that Samsung did this year was add more accessibility option for people with disabilities. They even have some useful options for everyone in the accessibility options. For example, there's a way to turn off your screen and keep the audio playing for things like podcasts on YouTube. I could see that being really handy for a lot of people. My next pro is PC gaming. PC gamers are going to love this TV. Now, I'm really kicking myself because I don't have a gaming PC to test some of these PC gaming features, like switchable aspect ratios. I was a PC gamer in the past and I would have loved this. So I know that you guys are going to love this if you are a PC gamer. I put this TV at the top of the line of any TV on the market just for that feature. If you are into aspect ratio changes with 21:9 gaming or 32:9 gaming, I think that feature is definitely cool. Another great feature is FreeSync Premium Pro. Now you are going to be able to take advantage of this. For the most part, it will work. I think right now it's only working on PC. I couldn't get it to work on Xbox, though. If you guys can get it to show up as FreeSync Premium Pro, let me know. One more pro for you guys. I think that this is the perfect TV for a bright room. If you do have a situation where you have a lot of light coming at your TV, if you have a situation where you just can't black out the curtains, then like this TV is probably going to be the best of the best for a bright room. All right, let's move on to the cons. There is a few cons with this TV, and I think the biggest con is going to be local dimming algorithm. I think it needs a lot of work. I've noticed a few bugs where there was flashlighting in the top left corner with logos and just weird occasions where there is no reason why the top left of the screen should be lighting up in that situation, but it does it anyway. So sometimes local dimming is really buggy, and on high it results in a loss of details in some scenes, so that's something you do want to keep in mind. Another con for me is subtitled movies will exhibit blooming from time to time, especially on the darker scenes. So if you are somebody who watches subtitled movies, like I said, it's going to be very hard for me to recommend this TV to you if you are in that category. So the next one, screen uniformity. It can be an issue if you get unlucky. And this can be said about any TV on the market right now. But I will have to note that there has been quite a few complaints in the last couple of years about Samsung TVs and DSE, which is the dirty screen effect. And this is going to affect a lot of people who watch sports, especially hockey. This is going to bother you a lot. So this is something you want to keep in mind when you buy a TV. You have a chance to get some defects, but that goes for any TV, but it has to be mentioned in the cons. The last con I have for you is the HDMI 2.1. There's only one HDMI 2.1 port for your gaming console, and the other is not really a HDMI 2.1 port, but it is a dedicated EARC port. So this isn't too much different than a Sony, because most of the time you really are using EARC, right? I don't think this issue will affect too many people, but if it is something that does bother you, the only real route to go is going to be LG with 4 HDMI 2.1 ports. That was all my cons. So in my opinion, I do like this TV a lot, and I do think the pros outweigh the cons for the most part. Unless you do watch subtitled movies, I definitely recommend this TV. Grading this TV on a scale of 1 to 10, I have to give it a 9 out of 10. It's the closest thing that LCD has come to being OLED quality black levels, and with the combination of brightness, it really is a spectacular TV. This is definitely one of the best gaming TVs you can buy right now. So why so many negative reviews around it? Well, I kinda have a theory on this. I personally think that most people are remembering what Samsung was marketing at CES, where they were advertising no blooming on this TV. It'll be as close to OLED. It'll be one of the best contrast ratios. And they really did hype it up a lot. And maybe they were talking about the 8K model, but people were taking this to heart. And I feel like this is an image that was burned into their head that, look, this TV shouldn't have blooming. Why does it have blooming? So they're upset about it. And a lot of people are taking their frustrations out on this TV. And I honestly think this TV is treated unfairly at times. This TV is a really good TV. I think it is better than the Q90T of last year. And honestly, if you were in the market for a Q90T, just get this one. Sure, it might not look as good as an OLED running an LG OLED demo, but let's be real here. How much do you watch that kind of thing? If you're watching TV, movies, honestly, this TV is awesome. The biggest question I get is, do I buy this TV or do I buy an OLED? And that's not for me to answer. You have to look and see what fits you the best. An OLED can do a lot of things that LCD can't, but LCD can do a lot of things that OLED can't. So you just gotta find out which one you like better and which one fits your environment better, whether that's a dark room or bright room. And at the end of the day, that's what you make your decision off of. Thank you again so much for watching this review. Stay tuned for more reviews. If you want to see more on the QN90A, make sure you check out the other videos. I did a side-by-side with the Q90T and a gaming review, so check those out. And that's all I have for you today. Once again, thank you so much for watching. If you guys want to chat about TVs, I do have a Discord where we are interacting all the time, so pop by that and say hi. I've got tons of videos planned in the future, so make sure you hit that subscribe button. Leave a like if you did like this video, and leave a comment because I respond to pretty much every comment. I can't say thank you enough. You guys are just amazing. Thank you again for watching, and I hope I see you guys in the next one.